Hey everyone, what's going on? My name's Untitled Live, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 3 key features that Payday 2 should have on consoles, but still don't have them ported from PC. And a lot of you will probably know what those 3 features are, but either way, I want to do a full video on them, and I want to discuss the 3 of them. So, if you know what they are, feel free to say it along with me, but the 3 items are, first off, the new Safehouse from October 2016, Crime Spree game mode, and also the Henchman Team AI update. 3 things that we desperately need for Payday 2 on console, and 3 things that we're no closer to having in any DLC updates. What I want to talk about is what's included in these 3 updates, any information that we have as to when we might see them, and then my predictions on when they might come, whether they'll all come together, and all stuff like that. I did talk about this a little bit in the What's Next Payday 2 video, but I honestly just felt it wanted its own update video, because it's a big thing, and I have been asked by people to talk about why we haven't been getting a lot of information, why Overkill aren't completely transparent, all that stuff. So I figured I'd lump that all into one video, talk about it all in one go. So let's get into it, and first off, start with the Safehouse. Now, the new Safehouse first came out in October 2016 as part of Hoxton's Housewarming Party, which was the 2016 edition of Crime Fest, the 10-day event where Overkill just gives you a bunch of free stuff for playing Payday 2. Sometimes Crime Fests aren't always good, and sometimes they will go through days where they don't really give you much at all. And more recently, they've stuck to the fashion of only giving you stuff every other day, and giving you little smaller treats like Paper Gang with a Search for Kento event where you made paper figurines of heisters, because so many people wanted to do that, didn't they? And then with the 2017 Crime Fest Lock and Load, every other day was just an announcement or an AMA on Reddit. So this was back in the golden age where 10 days of free stuff was 10 days of free stuff. In fairness, it isn't Overkill's fault that they changed that. It was because people constantly complained at them and said, oh, you just constantly updating the game, it's annoying to have to update Payday 2 every day for 10 days. So they went, okay, we'll do it every other day instead and just put stuff in between. But I don't know, it just feels like people are being cheated of content, and I would have just put up with the 10 days of updates. And if push comes to shove, if you had a problem with it, just don't update Payday until the 10 days are over. I know it's a little bit to wait, but I mean, at least then you're solving the problem. Or update it on day 3 or day 6 and day 10 or something. So just sit out a couple of days and then get a bunch of stuff to try. It's like Payday 2 on console that way, where you get about 5 DLCs at once. But either way, sidetracking. So the Safehouse came out, and with it came a few new features. First off, Continental Coins, which have actually had more roles as time's gone by, but they were introduced with the Safehouse, with the sole purpose of these coins being to upgrade different rooms in the Safehouse. Now, it isn't quite the customization that people have probably hoped for, where you could choose, decorate the Safehouse yourself, but every different heister in the Payday gang has their own room in the Safehouse. Even Oldstone, the butler, played by John Cleese, those of you know him, famous British comedian. There's loads of rooms, and each one has 3 levels, and you pay Continental Coins to go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, and so on and so forth. You also could use side jobs to gain Continental Coins and certain cash bonuses and upgrades, but side jobs were introduced before Hoxton's Housewarming Party, which kind of makes me think that we might not get those at all on console, because if we were going to get them, we probably would have had them by now. So I'm a bit skeptical about that. I would like side jobs in the game, but honestly, I'm at the point now I'm thinking maybe we should just consider that they might not happen, if you get what I mean. Either way, you could upgrade any and all of the rooms in the Safehouse from Tier 1 to Tier 2 to Tier 3 or Level 3, whatever you want to call it. And it was just a little way of, having a bit of upgrades to it and having something to work towards other than making loads of money and getting to max level. 2 of the things that I've done way too much and don't need to go over anymore in Payday 2. I literally go on for a laugh now because I've been max level for over a year, and I have $1 billion in both instant and offshore. I'm not really short of cash, so it'll be nice to have something else to do. But Continental Coins actually saw a use in Crime Spree, which we'll cover in a second, but they've been used a lot more ever since. And the way Continental Coins work, at least from what I've heard, is that you gain 1 coin for every million XP that you earn. I also heard somebody say that you get 1 coin for every $1 million you earn. Not quite sure if that's true, only because if you just cook off, you probably earn quite a few Continental Coins in one go, so I'm a bit skeptical there. But other than that, yeah, you could earn them just through getting XP, through getting a million XP for each coin, or through side jobs. Like you do a certain job, you get 3 coins or 6 coins, and that would help contribute to upgrading the Safehouse. So that's really the key problem here, and I think the main reason the Safehouse doesn't come through is probably because they can easily add a Safehouse. It's like a heist. They can add a texture, add a map to the game with no problem, but adding that customization ability and the whole feature of Continental Coins, I think, has been the real bug and the issue, and that's why I think we haven't seen Crime Spree as well. So let's move on and talk about Crime Spree, and that was introduced in the Search for Kento event in spring 2017, approximately 6 months after the Safehouse. The way Crime Spree works, I have explained in previous videos, but I will just give a brief summation for those of you who don't know. Basically, it is a concept where you chain heists together, or specific days. If you chain a certain heist, it doesn't have to be all 3 days. Like, for instance, it could be day 1 of Firestarter, and then afterwards you could do day 2 of Rats, something like that. There are certain days that aren't included. I think actually day 2 of Rats might be one of them, so I made a bit of a mistake mentioning that one. There are very, very few days that aren't included, but usually pretty much every heist you could conceive is part of the Crime Spree rotation. And basically how it works is you start off on Overkill difficulty, and as you gain crime spree rank, which is what you gain for completing each heist in the chain, you will get extra boosters added on top of the game or modifiers that make the game more challenging. For instance, you can get stealth modifiers that decrease the amount of pages you can use, so you can only have 3 pages, 2 pages, 1, and then 0, which is, you know, not exactly very nice, but that's by the by. On top of that, you can only kill so many as 10 civilians before the alarm is automatically sounded. That can go down to 0, I think, as well. So that's not nice. The pages I could probably manage without on most heists, but civilians, ooh, that'd be challenging. And then also there'll be alarm modifiers, like enemies now take 20 or 30% more damage or something. And then skulldozers will now spawn. Medic bulldozers and minigun bulldozers will spawn, 2 enemies that have now seen their way into normal heisting gameplay on PC, but still consoles haven't seen any of yet. So that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, there's plenty of features to crime spree, but the actual principle of chaining the heist together, I don't think is the reason that we haven't had it. My reason, I think, is, and this is why I haven't really talked about why I haven't had Safehouse as much, is Continental Coins. The whole crime spree system runs right around the coin system, mainly because once people had upgraded the Safehouse, which a lot of people did within the first week or two, because they just spammed Payday 2 and earned as many coins as they could, the issue is that they had nowhere to spend their coins afterwards. They were still getting a coin for every million XP they earned, or through doing side jobs, etc., but they weren't actually able to use them once the Safehouse had been fully upgraded. Now, of course, you could sit there and say, oh, well, when new heisters get added to the game, once every blue moon, that is, once they get added, you've got, you know, a new room to upgrade, but that doesn't really cover most of the coins. That doesn't take a lot out of the coin pile that you're probably building up quite notably, just to, you know, upgrade an extra room in the Safehouse every few months. So it's an interesting one. So what Overkill did to start with was they allowed you to start your crime spree at different levels. You could start it at 0, you could start it at other stated levels, or you could actually start it at the highest crime spree rank you ever achieved, or it might have been the last one that you did, it's one or the other. So there's a few options, and depending on your performance, that will affect which ones you can pick. But the higher the level you start at, the more Continental Coins you pay to start off with starting at level 0 being completely free. Beyond there, you can pay Continental Coins to re-roll what heists you get. You can pay Continental Coins to restart your crime spree, or like to carry on if you fail a heist, because if you fail it, you get locked out. You can either take what the rewards you've earned, or you can pay more Continental Coins and carry on, and the higher you get, the more it will cost to carry on your crime spree, and so on and so forth. Or during crime spree, you can buy gauge boosts. I'm not sure whether they saw their way into actual gameplay. I don't think they did an actual heist, but they give you things like extra ammo, pickups, and, you know, things along those that can actually boost certain gameplay elements and certain aspects of particular heists or days, and you would go for certain ones depending on what heist may be. Sometimes people tend to say that the gauge boosts are not worth the money or not worth the coins, but honestly, if you have so many, you may as well just spend them on boosts like that. It just kind of makes sense. But people try to weigh it up as like a coin economy, how many coins you get back for the crime spree compared to how many you spend on gauge boosts and re-rolling and all that stuff. But the key thing to focus on here is that when you chain all your heists together in crime spree, you don't actually get rewards for finishing one on its own. You only get your rewards once the crime spree has ended, which I thought was a really interesting concept, and actually works quite well. It's kind of like a slot machine in that way. You can keep putting money in, you can keep playing and keep going, get to higher levels and get more rewards, but if you fail, you still get nothing. So it's a really interesting idea, and I quite like it. So you'll get a huge bundle of offshore cash, instant cash, Continental Coins, and you'll get a ton of Payday card loot drops at the end of a crime spree. And obviously, the higher your crime spree rank, the more you'll get at the end of it. There's plenty to offer from crime spree, and it's a really fresh take on Payday 2, especially the fact that you can play certain days on its own. I know a lot of my friends are not as keen on the bike heist as I am. It's just one that I like for some reason, but mainly for the second day on the train. So if you want to play the second day on the train, and that comes up in rotation because you get 3 to pick from at any one time, one of which is always stealth, I should say, then you can actually just pick that day and you can go with it. You can re-roll and pick new heists, but I'm not sure how many times you can do that once. I imagine they like cap it and say, oh, you can only re-roll this once, and then you pay more Continental Coins to re-roll it each time, because otherwise you could just keep re-rolling it until you get the same heist over and over again. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that, so I probably should check that up. But again, I don't play Payday 2 on PC, so I kind of just find this stuff out through the grapevine, watching YouTube videos, all that stuff, so I just do my best to follow the information as best as I can. But to me, crime spree is the thing that I'm looking forward to the most out of the 3. The Safehouse is really nice and all, but crime spree is the big new game mode that gives you so much new perspective and new depth to play the game, and that's what I'm looking for in Payday 2, something to keep me in for hours on end, rather than just coming in and playing sub-matches with you guys, which, don't get me wrong, I'm loving, and it's really, like, you know, extending my enjoyment to Payday 2 and making me have a lot more fun in the game. But I want something where I can come onto the game myself, even if I'm on my own, and just sit and have something to work to. It's amazing to have that, and to be on console would be a godsend, so hopefully we'll see it soon. And then finally, the third feature that I want to talk about is the Henchman Team AI update, which started out in beta with the Search for Kento event, and then was released in full soon afterwards. What it does is it turns the amount of AI that spawn with you as teammates from 2 to 3 to start with if you're playing solo, so that's quite nice. But also, each AI that you have in will give you active and passive boosts for gameplay. Some of the boosts include AI being able to inspire once every 6 minutes, and that reducing by 2 minutes the more AI you have, or interaction speed increasing by 25%, and that goes up by another 25 for every AI you have. A lot of this is kind of passive boosts that will stack the more AI you have. They're the active ones. Then passive ones is like you have just a standard 10 more armor, 10 more health, 5 more dodge, stuff like that. Actually some really nice things, so that even if you're playing with like 2 mates, it's favourable to have the AI in, because they can give you really nice bonuses that can actually really complement your gameplay. And it's a really sweet thing, and obviously that is really nice to look forward to. It's not a full game mode like Crime Spree, but there's some really good features in there. You can also equip your own custom masks to the heisters. Obviously that will hold no weight to the gameplay, that just changes how they look. You can also choose who your AI will be at any one time. That'd be nice, so I could have all my preferred characters with me. So I could have like Jimmy and Scarface and whoever else I wanted to have with me would be really cool. But also you can change what weapons they use. Now the thing to note with that though is if you equip, say, sniper rifles, they don't have the ability that sniper rifles normally do to pierce shields and stuff like that. AI don't have that ability because that would mean they'd have an unfair advantage over using normal weapons. But basically the way they've worked is that no matter what gun you pick, they give out the same amount of DPS, damage per second, they have the same performance roughly, and it's just pretty much cosmetic. So they can fire whatever gun you want them to, but they'll pretty much do the same no matter what, which I prefer. I don't want it to be that you have to pick this weapon just because it does better damage and it gives you a better advantage, because if I want to give them like an AMCAR so that the AI can be cursed with a weapon that no one will ever use actually on multiplayer, like with actual human players, give it to the AI, have a bit of a laugh, torture them, and they'll still do well with the gun, it'd be a laugh. But you can give them anything you want, honestly. You can give them a minigun if you want. If you want the AI to have miniguns, give them miniguns. Let's have an absolute bulldozer fest and just have loads of AI tearing up cops. It'd be a real laugh, and I just really would like to have a go with it and just fiddle around. It's mainly the interaction speed and stuff like that I'm looking forward to for stealth gameplay, being able to run around and lockpick doors even faster than I already can. Stuff like that would be amazing, but that's the main premise of the Team AI feature. It's really good, and it did actually start a debate for a while as to whether AI was better than human players. I am a firm believer that playing with human players is better. I think it's just more that people who don't sadly have the human players to play with, perhaps you're not connected to the internet, or as depressing as it sounds, you might not have any friends who want to play with you, which some people sadly are in that circumstance. People like that who play on their own, you've got that added bonus. It's like, oh, you might not be playing with human players, but hey, you've got just a little extra incentive here. For playing with AI, get this extra boost. Or just, you know, generally. But I personally think that human players are better just because the coordination and the teamwork that it offers. Also them having deployables. AI still can't deploy things. If they could deploy things, then it would definitely be the argument that AI is much better than human. But I don't know, it's just an interesting take, and for once AI aren't completely useless, which is nice. Now let's get on to the not explained, should I say, section of the video. Why haven't we got them yet? Continental Coins is one thing. That explains to a certain extent why we don't have the Safehouse and we don't have the Crime Spree game mode. They've got to introduce all the way the Continental Coins work, how you earn them, integrate it into the Payday 2 system, and then get it to work with the Safehouse and with a new game mode. I get that. That will take time. That will take a lot of development. And with them working on Payday 2 VR for the last 2 years, which they've just finished, so you could argue they've got more time for consoles now, or PC. Because PC haven't really been getting as much content. I think VR's why, but you could say that basically they've been just slowly working away at it, because it's a big project, it's taking longer for them to finish. But in the meantime, they've still been putting DLC updates out, releasing heists, releasing characters, so you can't argue too much. But Team AI is the thing I don't understand. I understand wanting to give us updates in the order that they were released, but already that's not the case, because we're getting like Scarface Heist and Scarface Mansion. That was released over a year after the Safehouse came out, so we're already out of sequence with DLC. So I personally don't see why Team AI would be so difficult to introduce. I honestly, like with the boost, it might take a bit of work getting them to work, but honestly, I just don't really see it as a big problem. And of all of the updates, I would have expected to see Team AI here at this point. So that's the one that I'm disappointed about. With Safehouse and Crime Spree, like I said, I can kind of understand it a little bit more. Not great, but I do understand it. But honestly, the real illusion here is why Overkill don't just tell us everything. I think one issue is that there aren't enough people in touch with Overkill trying to find out this information. I would like to, I've said this in the past, I would like to actually be the person to try and get in touch with them and find out what's going on, because I like to think that I'm trying to represent the console players on YouTube, and it's not like some big mantle where I'm going to get a big head. It's just, we need somebody, and I would be happy to be that person for everyone. And a lot of people have said that they would like me to be that, so which is flattering to say the least, but either way. I just think Overkill should reach out more to certain content creators or certain people who can tell everyone about this stuff and say, this is why we're not doing this update. Here's the details, here's the nitty-gritty. Because, for example, when Overkill said that they were working on a system, that was their words, a system to make updates come out more frequently on consoles, to try, and they were seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, they were almost getting close to being able to release updates more frequently. I've still got no idea what that system is. I don't think anyone has an idea what the system is. I don't even think half of Overkill know what that system is. It's so confusing, and it should really be explained a bit more so that we know exactly what this system is, what it's like comprised of, what it involves, and then we have some more idea as to, you know, what they're trying to work on, why it's such a technical difficulty for them, especially because they're not the biggest studio in the world. They're not like Rockstar Games or something. They are just a small Swedish company. They're hiring more people, but it's still big tasks, a big task to handle Payday 2 on 4 different platforms now, and have Overkill's The Walking Dead being worked on, and have Payday 3 actually in the design phase right now. They're actually working on building the game. So, you know, they've got a lot to worry about, but why don't they just tell us that? Why don't they just come out and say, we've got a lot to work on. Here's the kind of technical things we're trying to do for people who understand it, and here's a bit of a watered-down definition for people who don't understand it. This is why we're taking so long. Hope you guys understand. But they don't. All they say is, like on Twitter, they'll go, we'll have more information when we've got it. We'll share information as soon as we have information to share. It's like, yeah, but you don't give us a time idea. I don't want to be rude on Overkill, but honestly, just saying we'll give you information when we give you information isn't the best. I like having surprise updates. It is a very nice feeling to not expect a DLC. Like with Master Plan, when I was just on the bus home from uni, it was dead funny because the trains had been cancelled and I was sat on the bus and I was bored waiting for about an hour to get home. And then all of a sudden on my phone, Payday 2, the Master Plan DLC trailer, and I was like, hello, what? It's nice to get a surprise like that, but I'd much rather know ahead of time that it's happening, because then I'd be able to prepare stuff for it, know what's happening, get some idea, be able to tell you guys, get it spread around. It'd just be nice. So I would much more favour us getting the information that we need. Sadly, that's not the case, and hopefully that will change, but honestly, I don't know whether it will. And now, the final point of debate, when will we see these 3 features added to Payday 2? Well, honestly, I've said in the past about when I think the next DLC update will be coming out. I think we expect it in the next month or 2, hopefully. Especially now that Switch and Payday 2 VR are out the door. That's 2 less things for them to focus on. Obviously, they'll have to release updates, but they're not fully working on getting a development version out of the door anymore. They've sorted that part of it out. So I'd like to think now they've got more time, more people. Even if, you know, console Payday 2 is a different team to PC, they can still assign more bodies to different teams and help things get out the door. I would honestly, I don't want to say it. I really don't want to say it. But I would imagine it's possible they could do one more update without the Safehouse and Crime Spray. But if they don't put Team AI in it, it will be honestly stupid. Because Team AI, like I said, is probably the easiest of the 3 to implement in an update. And I'm saying this now, I hope this isn't true. I hope they put all 3 out in one go. And I know you guys hope that too, but we've got to be realistic here. When people ask me if I'm an optimist or a pessimist, I tend to say neither. I like to be optimistic, but I also tend to think, okay, what's really going to happen? Forget what we'd like to see. Forget a world where there's unicorns and rainbows and butterflies and everyone's super happy and no one's ever sad. We actually need to think realistically here and sit and think, well, what might actually happen here? What might really happen? And as far as I'm concerned, I think Team AI will come in the next update with whatever content Overkill puts out the door. We've still got things like the Brooklyn Bank heist, the Reservoir Dogs heist, the Diamond heist, things that we still need to see. And, dare I say it, H3 character pack, August character pack, or is he called Duke now? Yeah, they changed his name to Duke. Getting confused. Fun. But there's still stuff they need to put out the door. So I imagine they'll put some of that in, lump it in with Team AI, and at a stretch they might put the Safehouse in, but they definitely won't put the crime spree in without the Safehouse, because obviously you need Continental Coins. And where did Continental Coins start? With the Safehouse. So it's a very difficult one, because those 2 sections are so linked. Will they drop Safehouse then Crime Spree, drop them both together, or drop them in like ages away? It's a tough one. It's a really tough one, but hopefully we'll see it soon. That's all I can say. But other than that, thank you all very much for watching this video. That is as much as I've got to talk about in this, but now I want to get talking with you guys down in the comments. I understand not everything in this video you will agree with. Everyone will have their own opinions, just please be respectful, because a couple of times recently people have been a bit offensive in talking about content updates and stuff, and not even to me, just to other people, and it's like, please just do be respectful. Most of you guys are, and thank you for being so, but it's the odd 1 or 2 people that aren't being that. Just please try and remember the way you speak can actually come across quite rude. So other than that, leave your opinions down below. I can't wait to get talking with you guys, as I always do on these videos. It's very interesting to hear your opinions. And other than that, when there's something to tell you, I sound like Overkill now, but when there is something to tell you, I'll tell you guys. And as far as it's concerned, that's as much as I know. I don't know when anything's happening, and if I find out otherwise, I'll let you all know. But other than that, thank you all very much for watching this video. It's very much appreciated that you have been watching it. If you did enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. Very much appreciated. Subscribe if you are new. Other than that, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take it easy.